Let me lock the front door so nobody.
I think. No, I don't look to the camera. I always have that feeling of being like
this way, right?
Like, hi, I'm so and so with. Which camera would I look to?
The green one. Green's on, red's off, right? Or is it the other way?
I should know this. I should know this shit, but I don't. It's my first time. If I was gonna give like an introduction, where should I look, to the green or no?
This one.
Oh, this
here.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, you can start whenever you're ready.
Well, hey, it's funny, I had almost forgot my name. I'm Brendan. This is an Untitled podcast because I don't have a name for it yet. I don't even know if I'm going to do this, but here I'm with the man of the hour, the day, the year, whatever it's called. P. Vincent. Vince or Vincent?
Vincent.
Vincent. It's also my middle name, but we're going to keep that aside. He's a chef, a bartender, a painter, an actor, a Navy veteran. Shit, he's a writer. And he boasts an IQ of 160.
161.
161. 161.
It's not as good as it sounds.
I don't even know mine, so it's
not as good as it sounds.
What would be like considered high? Out of the fact that I'm asking.
161's like a thousandth or a hundredth of a percent. It's rare.
It's rare.
It explains a lot of my problems. Doesn't mean I'm smart. It's how you think.
I heard that.
On like what kind of level.
Yeah.
Processing and retrieving information like a puzzle, 5,000 piece puzzle I could probably do in a weekend, maybe 4 days. It's like spatial thinking or something like that.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I think when I'm described as rare, it's not. It's not. Yeah, that, I mean, it's not
smart,
that type
but
of rare.
Because everybody else is below that, you actually come off crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we're all a little bit crazy in some sense, though.
I think I have a letter somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like anyone who says, "Oh, I'm not crazy at all," like that's the person who chops people's ups and.
We're the ones that are crazy.
Yeah, like crazy, like.
Yeah, crazy people don't know they're crazy.
That's what I'm. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of the thing like I don't know if you've ever watched SpongeBob or anything like that, where he's like.
I get the Bikini Bottom and.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out when those pineapples show up.
Yeah, and if Patrick's like, dumb people are actually unaware of how dumb they are.
Yeah.
There's actually a weird theory though too. They're saying that Patrick's actually a psychopath.
I thought he was a butthole.
They're saying like he doesn't have any.
Everybody's
empathy.
a different part or something.
He's a butthole?
He's a sponge that lives in a bikini bottom.
No, but you said Patrick's a butthole.
Yeah, starfish. I was this years old.
I never thought.
That could be wrong. I don't know.
That's actually.
That's his.
No, yeah. That's. Yeah. Dude, my mind's literally gone.
Sponge that lives in bikini bottom. His neighbors.
Oh my god.
Starfish. They snuck it by him.
That's not the only thing. Speaking of the thing they snuck by, you know, in the thing in Pinocchio, where he's talking about he takes naive little boys to an island and they don't come back as boys. I just saw this video clip like.
Yeah, they're linking everything together.
I was
Pixar movies are all linked. Who has the time to sit there and think of that?
I definitely do. Well, I thought you said who has the time to sit and figure this out. I was like, I definitely do.
Yeah, and then put all the clips together. You really got to pay attention.
For sure.
That kind of stuff. There's bigger things going on.
Speaking of bigger things, though, word on the street is you write your own conspiracy theories.
I completely, yeah. Most of them, they get close or, nobody really just starts from a premise and connects their own dots.
Okay.
For instance, and this will sound ridiculous, but if we say Hamas is funded by Iran,
right?
Yet we send Iran extra money to fund Hamas, who funds Hamas?
I don't know.
And if the world were changing, hopefully in a better direction, if we fund Hamas to sometimes take actions against Israel to influence a democracy, then maybe we're done with those things and they're trying to get rid of them.
Gotcha.
It's a nice thought.
It is. I just want to say that the thoughts expressed on the show are not necessarily reflective on me, but we're having a great time here.
Hey, it seems to make sense to me.
No, I get it. What do you think the wildest conspiracy, I struggled with that word, wildest conspiracy theory you think you have?
I see there's some truth to all of them. And there's like open gaps. They don't tell you everything, so you have to fill it in. I admit, like the Pizzagate stuff when you first hear it, if you get too deep into that, Pizzagate.
Oh, I thought you said PTA, like Parent Teacher Association.
There's no, I mean, that is a conspiracy.
in the PTA, well, I'm sure,
PTA
I'm
was
sure
good,
there
right?
is.
The teachers' unions are bad. My mom was in the PTA for a while.
Yeah. I feel like I'm slowly becoming a parent in a sense. Like I'm having more and more like dad moments of like, yeah. So I'm not too far off from being like PTA dad or something. It's funny how I was trying to put it off, but then I'm like, man, that was very fatherly of me.
It's being a parent and being a father can be overwhelming and terrifying.
Were you a father?
I am a father.
How many kids do you have?
Just one.
Just one?
Yep.
How'd that change your life?
I couldn't handle it. When I got out of the Navy, you know, things in my life had changed and in my family. And that was when heroin started. I was terrified to be a father. Me and my father did not get along, except for the period where I was in the Navy. We were best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But they knew my intelligence when I was in like elementary school. They did not give me any of this information, nor would I have known what to do with it. But they wanted to move me ahead, and my father was like, don't do that. I don't want him to feel pressure. And here, you know, I was at 38 or something where I realized, oh, I need the pressure.
Right.
Otherwise, I blow stuff off. But you give me a deadline and figure something out, I'll get it done.
No, for sure. Did your dad serve? Well, first of all, thank you for your service. Did your dad serve?
Yeah.
Yep.
So all of my uncles, my brother.
Okay, so this is like a family. So was that kind of like expected of you, everyone to?
My dad always talked about it. He signed me in at 17. He had to sign the paper, and he was all too happy to do it.
How'd you feel about it?
All right, he liked me, and I thought I was going to mess up. Everybody thought I was going to get thrown out.
Why is that?
Because high school was so difficult.
Right.
And I never really broke the law back then, but it was detentions, cutting class. I didn't recognize authority. So going into the Navy looked like a bad idea.
Right.
But again, the pressure and the structure, you know, top of my class at one school, top of my class at the other school. I missed E5, which is the second class petty officer. Inside of 2 years, I missed it by 1 point. Jeez. And that kind of advancement scares the old fat guys that have been in for a long time.
I think it's interesting what you're saying. They talk about maybe kids who had, say, trouble, although I do think what you were doing, it seems to be pretty indicative of just kind of like, it seems, I wouldn't say normal, but it's just like, that's not uncommon, like skipping school. Like a lot of kids done it, I've done it, but I think most of probably the people who go in the military are looking for structure. So I think for somebody to be like, oh, they won't make it, I feel like very few kids who are 18 years old are going to go in the military. I'm completely structured and I have my head on straight and I'm just going to, I feel like that's I could be wrong. I feel like that's
we're still kids well into our 20s.
I agree.
You know, and I think all of us can lose it at any point. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you wait too long, it gets more destructive. But yeah, 7 years on heroin, walking the streets of Philly like I own the place, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's a miracle I got out of that. But I sent myself to jail.
Why do you say that?
When I was a kid, my father was a store detective in Kmart. So he would take me to work with him. I grew up behind the one-way glass, and he pointed out people, see what he's doing. And he even told me, he said, if you want to get away with something, do it right out in the open, like you're supposed to be doing it, and nobody will say a thing.
Yeah.
That helped me rule well later on, but
right.
At that point, you know, I was living in an abandoned building in Chester. I was alone. I had no friends, no nothing. I had a drug dealer. It's not a common story, who would not sell me drugs that day.
Why is that?
Because he's a Pete. You weigh nothing. You need a hobby, motherfucker. I ain't selling you shit. Get out of here.
It's like a morality thing.
I mean, there's guys out there that think.
I get it.
His name was Option A.
Option A.
They give you names, and usually it's Black or Dre or something like that. It was Option A. And then the next day he did that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Kmart. This is back when they had like the double deck DVD players. And I said, I'm just going to push out the front door.
Just
And
act,
if it doesn't
just act
go
like
off,
you were
I'll
there.
go get rid of it. But if it goes off, I'll say, I need help.
Right.
And I did. So.
But just act like nothing's wrong. Just kind of just act.
Yeah, it set the alarm off, but the cop was like, we don't take people to jail for shoplifting, which is not true. They definitely do. But he's like, unless you don't have an address. I'm like, boom, I don't have an address. So I went to Delaware County's jail and felt myself come off of all of it. And that feeling without help is all I had to go through to not do it again.
Yeah.
And now it's like all fentanyl and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but it doesn't seem fun anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, so because I know there's a reason maybe why we start things. I don't know maybe if you thought of this. What do you think was the reason why you tried hair? Well, like what got you to, like there's a reason like you smoke weed in high school, maybe peer pressure. Come on, dude, just take a hit. But like, what do you think for you?
I remember
to try it.
I got back from the Navy, fell with some old friends, and everybody warned me they were into harder stuff. I'm like, whatever, that's not me. I started smoking weed again. Started doing coke here and there. And I knew they were getting heroin. I knew. Mm-hmm. And I always said no, always said no, always said no. Right. Something happened in the family where it felt like I was cut out of my own family. And I found a note years later I'd forgotten about. I was going to commit suicide. And my two friends, Mike and Jared, came by, picked me up, and we went down to the city. Stopped at 5th and Fair Hill, stopped at 6th and Venango. And they go into the barrio, where there's like a car on the corner that's on fire. Everybody's like screaming these words like Hellraiser and this and that. And they get it, we drive away. He said, do you want some? I said, I'll do a little bit. And I did coke, like, this end corner to corner like a CD player, He's like, okay. And he gives me the things like this. Mm-hmm. Nothing. So I'm like, this can't do anything.
Right. Okay.
Did that, and then I spent the next 2 hours wandering around St. Joe's projectile vomiting.
Man.
But I completely forgotten that I wanted to kill myself. I completely forgot all of my problems.
Okay.
And I did it again the next night. And then the next night. Yeah. And then the next night. Opioids. If you take it for over a week, your body is going to get physically addicted to it.
Absolutely.
Everybody responds differently. But your body likes not to feel pain.
Absolutely.
Unless it comes down to pooping, and you have to know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So it's a miracle I made it out of that. It really is. I lost so many friends, and my mom's coworker, his son at the post office, I knew him. I was in jail with him. He died. I don't know why I'm standing here, and he's not, But
you feel you have kind of like survivor's remorse with that a little bit?
Sometimes it, trying to reconnect with my daughter when she was young because I wasn't there, I ran. And you can't get that time back, and you get tough times, and it's like, why did I survive? Why am I still here? You try to find a reason to keep going, even if you're lying to yourself sometimes.
What do you feel your reason is now?
At this moment, I don't know. I'm not really materialistic. I don't think of a big house and whatnot. I'd rather have the connections first and then the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not backwards.
Make it a home.
Yeah, because none of this, you can't take any of this stuff with you.
Facts.
None of this stuff has any value.
Facts.
What really has value, place to sleep where you feel safe.
Yeah.
Somebody else with you, keep you company. I've been in those situations. You could have given me $100,000. It wouldn't have helped me in the middle of the night in that bando.
No.
Wouldn't, And people chase it, and they save it, waiting for a day that's probably never going to come.
Man,
You know, so you're here, enjoy it. And at this point in my life, I try to be the better guy. I mastered the other way.
right.
So I try to be the guy that's not going to drag somebody down, or the friend that says, hey, you're drinking too much, you need to quit drinking. And I stay on it. I don't flip-flop, and we got to look after each other.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't do that anymore.
Man, I think, there's an election coming up soon. You sure you don't want to run?
I mean, after Fetterman won, I'm like,
give us some
if
wisdom,
AOC
man.
can be in Congress, I mean, I'm a bartender. At least I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to change. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Man, I think for you to come from where you're coming from, the low points, but all the stuff you're doing, man, I just got to say hats off to you. I mean, just,
Yeah.
I know it might not feel like anything, but dude, it's sincerely like
I thought of getting like my record expunged or cleared or sealed, and not only felonies, but they got to change the paper for the misdemeanors. You know, but it's me, and I stood up and I did my punishment. You know, I just recently have all of my fines paid off for the first time.
That's what's up.
So,
That's what's up, man.
you know, the mistakes you make, the ones you stand up for, that's how you learn and grow. If you make a mistake and you don't stand up for it, or worse, you hide somebody else from it, you know, it doesn't work. It gets worse.
Yeah, I don't even know what to ask next, but kind of going back to what you were saying, because I know we have a huge opioid problem right now, obviously Kensington and stuff like that. I think there's something, certain people use needles and stuff, some people drink and stuff, but that whole thing of how powerful you're saying is it makes you forget your problems. And there's a lot of people hurting.
Don't feel
that's insane.
anything.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's funny that you don't, a numb feeling or whatnot.
Right.
Or it's even the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
It's connected to your central nervous system, and opioids turn it off. And your brain's like, sweet, one less thing to do.
Right,
It's the most
right.
efficient organ, and it really likes it when you help it out like that. So that's why when people are, they're called dope sick.
Yeah.
They're not sick. Their system's turning back on. And if you've had it shut off for a long time, you're pretty damn uncomfortable.
Man.
But if you don't go through it,
Right.
you will die.
If you don't go through the
If
detox.
if you don't get off it and pay the price, you will die.
What can you describe well, I mean, I'm sure you could describe it, won't do it justice, but can you describe the process of what it feels like to detox?
Off of what?
Heroin?
Heroin? Think of like the flu, where you have chills and everything like that, and your skin kind of feels like it's being tightened or wrung out. That's because things are waking up, pins and needles, sweats, the stomach. Vivid dreams. I mean, you would swear you were in the city going to buy a bag, and you were starting to feel better.
Like hallucinations?
Like lucid dreams.
Oh, lucid
You know,
dreams.
you're definitely dreaming, but you're interacting in that dream, and your body, sensing the oncoming stimulus, reacts. So, I mean, if you're sick, withdrawing from heroin, and you start driving down the city, you have money in your hand, your body gets ready. It's the only time when we don't feel right that the correction is instantaneous.
Could you say, so when you say you're driving down the street, you're trying to get clean, you have money, it's almost like the thing with Pavlov.
Well, if you were going to get it,
your body's like, it's kind of preparing,
Yeah.
like the dog thing, if it,
yeah,
where
the
the
conditioned response, yeah.
Okay.
But that even happens the way the brain works.
Right.
It knows you're trying to quit, so it's not going to come directly at you. It's going to be like, we're not going to the spot.
Right. We're
You
not.
have to go to the laundromat next to the spot.
Right. Okay.
No, you don't. Matter of fact, you should probably stay in your house for a little bit, because your brain just tricks you. It likes to keep things the way they are. It's very efficient.
Yeah.
Alcohol's like the worst
I was
thing.
going to say it's the same thing. You'll just go to the bars on the corner. You're not going to go to the bar. You're just going to go to the grocery store kind of close to it because it's kind of,
Yeah.
the other one's too far. You don't feel like, so
Well, just I'm going to have one.
only have
Depends
one.
who's there. Yeah, all the stuff. But alcohol is horrible on the
Oh,
body.
Yeah.
On life. I mean, it occurs to me the entire time of my life, we have been arresting people and taking weed out of the city. It occurs to me they should have been airdropping that shit in.
I was going to say,
You know
I'm
what
like,
I mean?
weed. That was like weed. You're just going to.
Riots. Give them some weed. Just drop it
Literally.
in there, you know?
Literally. But I feel I completely agree. I feel like you're probably more likely to kill somebody drinking alcohol than you. If
Beat your wife, beat your kids.
Yeah, like literally, if you have somebody smoke weed, they're probably going to just literally sit on the couch and watch scary movies.
I don't know
something.
a single guy that smokes weed
And
beats his wife. Now, he may do other things and all that, you know what I mean? But I've never seen somebody like...
no, exactly. It's like literally.
It doesn't happen.
You ever seen Scary Movie with
Yeah.
like I love all those ones, but like the one they had the character Shorty, who was with Marlon Wayans. They had the one in their house where he's just like I don't know. That's a different topic for a different day. Yeah. But
It occurred to me that at the end of Prohibition,
mhm.
you know, when they brought alcohol back, and they, you know, had the Harrison Act and they made weed legal. If we would have kept alcohol illegal and legalized weed, we would have the weed, tobacco, and firearms.
Oh,
agency.
WTF instead
WTF.
instead of ATF.
And then it occurred to me, why isn't
Right.
every government organization just get a WTF check?
Why is that?
It doesn't matter who they are. When they knock on the door, the first thing you're going to say is, what the fuck? You know, IRS, Facebook investigations, you know,
Well,
FBI.
WTF also stands for what the fuck. So
Yeah.
I feel like they might not want that joke. I appreciate it though, but yeah. So they got
We get
what
to
the
name
fuck
it, don't
on their
we?
jackets.
We get to name it.
Yeah.
We name the whole thing, WTF,
Yeah.
and the post office.
Post office. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. I thinking going back to what you said off of the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
How did because I know there's Navy, Air Force, and stuff like there's different factions. How do you guys kind of look at each other? Do you kind of look at each other that they're all on the same team, or it's kind of like high school where you have the jocks over here, you have the nerd, like kind of like, or is it kind of like?
I mean, we're
How
all.
would you describe?
Believe me, push comes to shove, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you are, it might matter for the Coast Guard, but it doesn't matter. You serve, you serve. I do draw a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like when law enforcement is lumped in with the military.
Why is that?
I'll take the firefighters, but when you have cops that sit outside of a building where kids are getting shot for 45 minutes, don't put yourself next to the guys that run into fire. You know, I know you're scared. I know things. But if that was my kid in one of those schools, I would have got shot going in without a gun because I couldn't sit there while that happened. I'd rather get shot than be like, that's the guy hid in the corner. You know, that's... But, then you say that.
Right.
But I'm
right.
not, in that situation.
It's the Mike Tyson thing.
Yeah, I've been shot twice.
Really?
Yes. One was like a graze wound, buying drugs, 8th and Diamond. And the other one was in Delaware County in Media.
Oh, Media.
I was arrested highly intoxicated. And I was picking on the police. I made fun of them, saying some pretty... I know what statement you never want to make to a cop.
What is that?
You,
What is it? Off the record.
This is definitely... Do not say this.
Do not, for everyone who's watching, we cannot repeat this again. I'm smiling right now because I'm very jovial right now, but I can repeat this. Do not say this. This is strictly for educational purposes. What should you not say?
Before you do this, call your wife and tell her you're not coming home.
Okay. All right.
When there's 10 cops outside your door. They're itching. And, it's... Years ago, I was disrespectful towards the police.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think they're crazy because they get blamed for everything. The job is demanding.
Right.
They get thrown into everything. They say they want to help, but it's like, okay, why'd you stay? You know what I mean? They don't get enough credit. But it's just nuts. I mean, interrupting a crime is one of the most dangerous things you can do, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think even that with technology would be changing. I don't know, but you don't need to reform the police. Prosecutors need to be held accountable for the things they do.
What do you feel
That's
you need?
always been a story.
What do you feel they need to reform?
You need to take away immunity from prosecutors and judges that follow corrupt law. I mean, I could get in trouble for this or living in this area, but Montgomery County, Bill Cosby, you can't have people come in and accuse somebody of a crime that he was never charged with. That's bias, you know, and the judge the first time, who I know, who was my judge, Stephen O'Neill, he did a wonderful drug program, not knocking him down. But to hold a second trial just to get what you want, that's a perversion of justice. Then you have prosecutors that hold back evidence or play games. You can't have a system that does that, but they face no consequences. No consequences. That's where it's at. The brutality thing, you can't tell the cops not to fight back. Does it go too far? Sure, but we're not doing the fire hose stuff anymore. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the prosecutions, the plea bargains. Sit in jail until you're ready to say, oh, you did it, and they'll let you out. But before we do that, the judge is going to ask you, will you promise to anything to make this deal?
What would you say? You
have to say no.
You have to say no?
You definitely were. Just promise something for the deal.
Well, wouldn't that be perjury, though?
It's what they do because it gets cases to move through the courts. But what it also does is gets cops and DAs to throw extra charges on, scare you, have you sit there. Right. You know, I don't know what the right answer is, but it sucks.
Man.
It sucks.
I definitely feel, too, you have a lot of stories, but also, too, I think kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying before, have you ever thought about being like a counselor for people who are trying to get clean? Because I feel like you can't bullshit somebody who knows. That, you know what I mean? Like,
there's a difference.
You're like a person, like nobody, you can look and be like, look, dude, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know.
You'll have a counselor that's. You know what I mean? I had a bulimia problem. You know nothing about my heroin problem. You understand how addictions and these things work, but you don't get it.
Exactly.
And being on the inside, you do. I can look at somebody.
Exactly.
And
that's what I mean.
I was recently trying to get somebody off of alcohol, and they can't lie to me. I know you should be sweating right now.
Right.
I know you should be talking about something. I know where you should be because I've done it. So, you know, but they'll lie to you, play games. You know, you slept all the way through last night. And yet shouldn't happen, you know. But everybody's a little different.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks they're so creative and clever. I have a bottle stashed downstairs by the washing machine. Nobody would ever suspect it. We all do the same shit. It's the same progression. But everybody thinks they can handle it or it's not that serious. These things will kill you. They will kill you. And alcohol poisoning, you get cirrhosis of the liver. That liver doesn't have any pain cells. It's not like you can be like, ooh, it's coming on, you know.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the liver didn't have any pain cells.
No, just like the brain doesn't either.
The brain doesn't have pain cells?
Nope.
Or is that where the pain cells would be those nerves? Or
the brain does not have any pain receptors. Maybe the membranes around it. So when they do some surgeries, like aneurysm, stuff like that, you'll be awake and be looking at pictures. So they kind of know where they're touching. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I'd need serious drugs, but that freaks me out. But yeah, you're awake. And then, like, they show you a tree, and he moves this thing, and it's like, dog, he's like, oh, no, don't go there. Oh, tree. So. Yeah, the liver doesn't tell you. And it's so accepted, and it just goes on and on. I stopped because I started getting migraines out of nowhere. I'd have, like, one beer.
Stop drinking.
And I was like, yeah. I don't drink anymore. And it's nice. I don't have to apologize. I don't wake up feeling like shit. It's the common line. I heard it. Pete, you're a great guy
Mm-hmm.
until you start drinking.
Mm.
And I really thought they were wrong about that. But once you get DUIs and stuff, and once you decide you're just done getting in trouble, I went to my second DUI. I went to the Penn Foundation. I walked in and I said to the therapist, I said, 6 months from now, you need to tell me why I do dumb shit. Because half the time you go to the therapist, you know, goal is very important. They could get to some information.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay. And we talked. He's like, you're bored. You're not doing nothing with your life, not engaging yourself. He's like, that kind of intelligence, you could be a doctor in 6 years. So I was like, So I did the University of Phoenix scam, and that's an awful lot of work when you're not in the classroom. A lot of writing papers, and I got just to the master's level, and then had to go back to jail for a couple months, which messed up the FISA payments, or FASA.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they kicked me out. They told me I had 6 months. They lied. They kicked me out. But I'm not paying them. I offered to give the degree back for the cash, but they won't do that. Because, psychology degree is great in poker and dealing with people. But most people don't want to do the work. They don't want to look at themselves and say, in this area, I suck. I need to change something. They say, can I just get one of those pills and I'll see you next week? Because it's easier.
Oh.
But pills don't change nothing.
You just kind of keep it there. They don't.
It makes it maybe manageable. You could
manageable. Right.
You're like, I have to be on antidepressants the rest of my life. But you shouldn't be.
Right.
You should be
right.
on them in therapy to get off them.
To move on.
You're going to be depressed every now and then. Guess what? Everybody's bipolar. Everybody has two sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the swings back and forth and how you deal with them. But our culture has come up with a symptom for everything. Restless legs. What's a tardive dyskinesia? It's like sudden movements. The first side effect is may cause sudden movements. You got to pay real close attention to those commercials. I swear,
at the ending of the
and
it's like, the eye movements and this and that and this, and I'm like, that's.
Do you know what my favorite side effect is?
What's that?
The pain at the injection site. Because I always picture a guy standing there, and you get in a shot, and he goes, ow, and he falls over. Because that's all you would report, right? Is ow, then you're dead. You can't report your death.
No, you can't.
So pain at the injection site. Watch that one.
That'd be standard though. I feel like if you get a shot, it's gonna. You've ever had some sort of shot, like it's gonna.
Yeah, but can you imagine? They're like, write down whatever he reports. Don't go with your doctor advice. Whatever he reports. Guy falls over. I think he's dead. He didn't say that.
Those commercials are pretty wild. Just hearing it, and I think they do at the end. They speed all of the potential side effects. They speed it up, and it's like
fillers.
It can cause this, and it can cause heart attacks. It can cause you to die,
rectal bleeding,
right, and this or that,
and often causes the very symptom you're trying to get rid of. So, that's they went too far, didn't they? The pharmaceutical industry.
We're definitely on to something. But again, that's why I think literally, I'm not suggesting you to do anything, but that's literally why I think what better, like, how they have some people who went to prison, who are burglars, who are hired for security detail, where they're like, hey, if you were that guy that you used to be, how would you break into my home? And they'll like hire guys like, I would do this, this, and that. He'll actually like break into the home. It's like, that door is going to get kicked in. This window, I would do this. Like I would have broken in this way. So I was like, I really feel it's like you were saying, nobody can BS you.
No,
nobody.
Casinos used to hire, card sharks and cheats because everyone's watching. They know what to look for. That's what they used to do. Now AI can spot half that stuff.
AI. It's like the movie I, Robot. You ever seen that one?
I've seen most of Will Smith's.
Yeah.
I liked them until recently.
Did it have anything to do with the slap?
The slap and the everything that came with it. Yeah. That he was cool for like everything. The best stuff in life is on the other side of fear. Yeah, that is true. But the other stuff and then this. I don't know. I swear it was fake. It looked like Chris Rock.
I thought it was fake. When I first saw it, I'm like, I saw this and I'm like, there's no way it was real. But when I saw him yelling, I'm like, that's what made me think. I was like, oh, when I saw the actress, there's an actress named Lupita Nyong'o,
Okay.
who was on his. She's a black woman, but if you watch the video, she's on his side, and I'm looking at her reaction where she's looking and she's
laughing,
like,
right?
no, she's laughing, but then he's like, keep my wife's name out your fucking. And she's like, and I'm like, oh, this
Yeah, but he had to walk down too.
But that's why I thought it was fake. I was like, there's no way. And I'm like, because they showed it when Chris Rock had his hands behind his back, and then he's like, they kind of cut off of him, so you couldn't see you didn't see Will Smith walk up. You only saw him.
And the shot was from the back.
And then I'm like, that's fake. But the fact that I could care less about the award shows or anything.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're talking about it, though.
I've learned this. If there's a camera on and you see it, somebody wanted you to see it. Because believe me, I've been on sets. And when they don't want something, it doesn't get in. You know, that's why you kind of wonder with all the stuff we've been seeing, like a guy that falls up the stairs.
Which I've done many times.
I mean, I've fallen on the floor playing VR.
Oh, yeah. I have
But,
to.
you know, if it was what it was supposed to, you wouldn't see that. They wouldn't show that to you.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it helped the rate. I don't know why people are, I'm like, you're going to have, you've had more people talk about it in recent years. I really believe, and they know this more than any, for them, whether it's bad press or good press, I feel like they're like, oh my gosh, we didn't want this to happen. But you had so many viewers, like, they're like, I wonder what's going to happen next year or something. But there is a theory, though. They were saying that if it had been Mark Wahlberg up there or The Rock, unfortunately, Will Smith probably wouldn't have gone up there. Probably not.
I doubt it.
I think that was the thing too. Chris Rock was he's an easy target.
Or like 50 Cent or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
would have been. That's what Chris Rock said. He was like, the guy who played Muhammad Ali. He's like, yeah. So it's kind of
he's supposed to be the nice guy.
Yeah,
but he has a song, Mr. Nice Guy. I'm a nice guy. How's your mom and them? Yeah. But I do the acting, and I would do whatever, but I do not want to get paid a lot of money for it. It's fun. It's interesting to do, but it's inherently dishonest, isn't it? You are not. You're faking it.
But you wouldn't want to get paid a lot of money for it?
No, I don't think those celebrities that are making. What's Tom Hanks really doing for the world? He's a phenomenal actor. He gets great movies and makes great deals on them. But I think it's just too easy.
The acting?
And the millions.
The millions?
Larry David is not a character actor.
No, I think I feel Larry David's actually, that's him. Yeah. He's not acting.
And
that's literally
Christopher
him.
Walken is just some version of Christopher Walken with different dialects, They're phenomenal, but I wouldn't want, now in comedy writing or something like that, or if I do stand-up, that I'll take money for. But again, you get to like the Dave Chappelle thing where somebody gives you too much money, they think they own you. Oh, yeah. And I'd say keep all the money and say what I want.
That's why we're here now. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I told you.
I still kind of hesitated because I'm like, will I lose my sponsorships? But jokes on you guys, I don't have any sponsorships, so.
Nobody listens to me anyway.
Yeah, that's the reason why I started. Nobody listened to me. Yeah. That's why I'm doing this.
Oh, because that guy in the Phillies shirt said that shit. Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of Phillies, though, have you ever seen the video of the guy who got, the guy got arrested for streaking, and he got, it was on the show called Tosh.0.
Oh, Tosh.
You like that show?
I love that show.
I love that show, too. That was my shit.
I love that show, but
I love that
his
show.
style probably wouldn't have flown for a while, but where the hell did he go?
I think when he started in 2009, I don't think people appreciate online videos now. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like the beginning, but I think at that time it was a big deal. Now everyone's like, oh my gosh, an online video, they're so saturated.
Yeah.
But that was my shit, dude. I love that show.
It's great. And for that, we thank you.
Yeah, for that, we thank you. I like he had the season of subtle differences where he had like the same shirt, but you had to spot him. But I kind of like his comedy. But speaking of comedy, the person over here is your word on the street that I heard from the cat down the road is your stand-up comedian, correct?
I'm going there.
Nice.
I'm going there because I can't keep my mouth shut. And
there you go.
This shit half the stuff don't make sense. You know, it's somebody has to call it out, and if I get the opportunity to do that, I'll do that. But they say just take yourself and your pain, and I have plenty. You know, it's just, you know, trying to get material where it seems polished, but I probably should just smoke some weed and go up there because that's when I'm most relaxed. But I've done it once or two open mics distant from home where I didn't know anybody, but I think I'm afraid to actually embrace it, you know?
Embrace what?
The freedom. Because
Really?
as you go different places, you're like, well, you know, can you get more risque here and not here? And I'm like, look, I understand if there's children, I should limit myself, but otherwise,
Who brings their children to a comedy show?
I wouldn't, but that's why I'm saying I don't understand why they're talking about a venue in Center City versus a venue in Port Richmond.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Tell me which one would be more offended. That's where I think I want to go.
That's tough though, because you don't like. I think you would have an idea of like, okay, this could go either way, but like you don't know. I feel like you probably wouldn't even know what's gonna land until you do it. I think that's like a lot of comedians' dilemma, where it's like you don't know what's gonna hit until it does, and you don't know what necessarily, for the most part, is gonna be offensive.
Yeah, I mean, it can be funny to you,
right?
Know,
so
but
it's
is
like,
it going to have enough appeal,
right,
to go around? I think if you can hit something that would be commonly understood or commonly funny, you have a better chance. In other words, at this point with the relationship I just got out of, and for the comedy career, I thought maybe, now that I'm 48, I'll just get a vagina.
Well,
I'm not going to...
You're 48?
Yes.
You know what they say. I know they a lot of
Hard
times.
48.
They say that black don't crack, but white doesn't apparently too, folks at home. So,
yeah, it just shows more.
Yeah, didn't mean to interrupt you. That had to be said.
But what was I? Where was I?
I interrupt. You know, you were saying, geez, I don't remember what I was saying.
I'm going to get a vagina.
You said what?
I'm going to stop dating. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm just going to get my own vagina.
Like implanted?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Then I know where it's been. I can trust it. I can end my search and just, you know, but I won't tell anybody.
It would be just for you.
Just me.
Your own personal
have a vagina.
That's...
I tried. I don't get... I know they say gender dysphoria, whatnot. I'm born in the wrong body. Okay, so I don't know what that is. Maybe people do feel that. So I try to be like, as a man, if I woke up one day, I had a vagina, you know, I would fuck it immediately. I wouldn't get rid of it. I would keep it.
Hey.
I don't think any man would get rid of a vagina if he had one that he knew he could trust. See, I don't know if that's funny or not, but I think when you throw in the fact that you finally have one you can trust, that might get the chuckle.
Yeah, that was awesome. I just didn't know in what context we were talking about. Like, I'm going to get one, like one you carry around with you, or like...
Can you get them anywhere? You get like one here and one here?
I think you can get... There's some like down the street, and I mean, like, from what I hear, vaginas are everywhere.
And then, like, could I have my brother go with me? Like, could we pick out different styles, or?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Right? I think they should have like a whole wall, like you're designing your online avatar, but for whatever part you're getting.
I
would like the nice, even, you know.
I don't think you should speak about this on camera, and the only reason I'm going to say this is because somebody might steal your idea. It might be me. Just kidding. Just kidding. No.
Highest form of flattery.
No. Stealing.
I'll do it right behind you, just better.
That's the mark of a true artist, though.
Yeah. I grew up watching Carlin. I mean, my parents let me watch that on HBO. My mom didn't like the language from anybody else but him.
George Carlin?
And he was the only guy I ever felt on that box that was trying to tell me something and not bullshit me.
Oh, yeah, he was telling the truth. I feel like a lot of comedians are bitter. I feel like a lot of them are pretty smart, but I feel like a lot of comedians are very bitter because they're saying a lot of stuff and it's like, you fucking idiots don't even see that I'm actually trying to tell you some shit. But I gotta kind of like, you know, they say put the pill in the applesauce or something this. It's like, you don't understand. I'm not fucking joking.
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
I didn't like him for a while. And then he passed in COVID.
Rest in peace.
I started paying attention. He loves telling slow, bad jokes. And he's good with a bad ending. He likes it. But I didn't appreciate his style until later. Yeah. But Carlin, he didn't consider himself a comedian. He considered himself a writer who did his own performance.
I think that's the perfect way to describe him. I mean, he was funny, but I think some of the stuff you're listening to, I'm like, everyone's laughing, but I don't think he's like, it's like, y'all should like research what he's saying. Like, it's like the thing with, I don't know if you know the group Outkast. Andre, you know the song Hey Ya?
Oh, yeah.
They're talking about how no one realized that he made a very sad song, but he put a happy beat behind it.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, it was like the song of 2004 that they have played over and over and over again. And everyone thought it was like a happy kid song. I didn't find this out till recently. You were saying, if you actually listen to the lyrics, he's talking about infidelity, him being depressed, and how if you break it down, he's like, thank God for mom and dad for sticking two together because we don't know how. Thank God, you know, the thought of being alone is killing me right now. And said they always say that love, that nothing is forever. And then they kind of mask it with except what. So how is love the exception? And I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is not what I'm like. And then he says in the song, oh, you don't want to listen to me. You just want to, he literally says it in the song. So it's like what you were saying before. If you're acting like you're not doing if you put it out in the open, no one will even blink twice. And I'm like, dude, mind blown.
Sometimes you'll get it right past them.
Jesus
with the laugh.
Christ.
And you're telling them the truth.
Yes.
But it doesn't hit till later. You're like, oh my God, when he said that, oh, now I see.
Right.
You know, but that's this country. We spend more time bullshitting each other than just doing the right thing. You know, we let politicians have their own language, you know, and you know, we don't communicate well. We don't teach each other how to communicate and process emotions. And with my intelligence level, not having the information in my 20s, life was very difficult because I saw where I wanted to go and where the structure was, but I had no idea if I could handle it or if I was mature enough, or I still don't know if I'm mature enough for certain tasks.
So let me ask you this. So you said you don't feel that the acting is you wouldn't act for a lot of money. Would you do stand-up for a lot of money?
I would sooner take money for stand-up that I wrote and experience.
More so than acting? More
so than that. It's fun stuff. I don't know how good I am, but it's fun. You know, it's not. I was in restaurants, and in 2019, I was like, oh, Anthony Bourdain passed away.
Oh, man.
And I worked my way up through restaurants, doing the jobs. I thought, well, gee, maybe I could take a spot, but I don't want to go anywhere weird, and I don't want to eat anything weird. But I had already conquered my demons that he kept with him. And I tried to go into consulting, but then COVID happened and lockdowns. And I was like, well, that's great. You know, build a website for nothing. And I fell into, you know, acting, doing local stuff here and there. So it was fun. Ironic that I was cast for a background in The Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so the very first time I was ever recorded, I don't know if they used the film or not, I was ever recorded on camera was in the old federal courthouse at Girard College.
I don't know.
So I'm like, what do they do? Google like random white guy in PA courtroom and like, he's right there.
He's right there.
He's right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I haven't been in trouble in a long time, so that's good. That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
The most important question a cop will ever ask you is this one. Have you ever been arrested before?
Okay.
Now, see, if you say no, the cop has a chance to go, well, I don't feel like introducing it to it tonight. But once you say yes, you're getting arrested. It's like, oh, you're familiar with the process? Come on.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't notice the difference, of course, that they don't even ask me anymore. But it's been a long time. I haven't run afoul of the law. But again, that's not drinking. Me and the state have an agreement. If I don't, they won't. Yeah. I think that I already had the interlock, so that the third one, I think that's like 2 years in jail and a toaster monogram mug, something like
I think we put that one on a bumper sticker. If they won't, if I won't, they won't.
that. Yeah, if I don't, they won't.
I think we got a lot of iconic sound bites. But yeah, speaking of, can I use? You can keep this on camera. I want everyone to hear this. Can I use the restroom real quick? Cool. I want everyone to know I have no shame in this. I will be right back.
You want me to cut on this?
Yeah, you can cut it.
How long have you been rolling? 50 minutes.
Good. I'll take a seat over here.